This is the volume pedal I was talking about, and it's hooked up the way I said. The preamp out is going to the input, and the output is going back to the power amp in. Now you can see the tuner, the little blue Fender tuner down here, right here. And when my volume pedal is backed off, I can tune in between songs, and it won't bother the audience, or if you're playing in church, it won't bother the congregation. They won't hear me tuning. I can look down at that light with the volume pedal off, tune in complete silence, and I'll rock the pedal down and I'm right in. Now, the other thing I can do with this volume pedal is hit the chord and then fade it in, or I can hit a lead note and fade it in, which is real handy for some songs. I'm playing Lightning, that's that white Les Paul that you've seen me with so many times. And when the sound coming out the back of the speaker, when the sound comes out the front of the speaker and hits the back of the guitar, I can get real good sustain. Especially if you give it a little bit of drive. Real good sustain. That's what we call body feedback. Pickup feedback, you'll hear a high squealing sound. And if you have inexpensive pickups, or if you get too close to the speakers where the sound coming out the speaker actually makes the the pickup act like a microphone, you get a real nasty sound and feedback. But body feedback, where the sound hits the guitar, is a really usable kind of feedback. Now, I've got the middle turned up. I turned up the middle because I like a mid-range boost on that distortion. I've got the bright switch on, which only affects the clean channel. I've got the presence knob down, which seems to affect both channels on this, but with the presence down, I can get a smoother distortion. It's not quite as trebly. Now right here, that's just drive. When I click it to more drive, how do you get that sustain? They think I'm using an effect like a compressor or something to get that sustain. Well, at low volumes and when I use a solid state preamp or I'm going straight to the board, I will use a compressor. But when I'm going into my tube amp, there is nothing between this guitar and the amplifier. I go straight to the amp. That's the same chord. It just goes straight from the guitar to the amp, and then the preamp out's going to this volume pedal. The volume pedal goes back to the power amp in, and the only effects I've got is the built-in reverb, which on this amp is a real nice reverb. The tone controls on the amp and the overdrive on the amp. And that's all the effects I need with this volume pedal. Now another trick. I'm bending one note to match the other, but it's the volume pedal that makes the pick sound disappear. Now you can do that by spinning the volume knob on the guitar with your finger, but when I've got both pickups on the Les Paul, it's easier and sounds more smooth to use the volume pedal. And you'll notice, by putting the volume pedal here, like I said before, here's a demonstration, at low volumes, I've still got lots of distortion. And if you put the volume pedal before the distortion, that won't happen. It'll take the distortion away when you back the volume pedal off, because you're decreasing the gain before the gain stage. So that's how I get that sustain. That's how I control that distortion volume without messing up the distortion. And it's done with a hot Rod Deville and no effects.